Hey, I'm Nicholas Petrago, and this is the final project for CS109, obviously. So let's start. Basically, I am studying secondary education spending by country, by GDP, from 2003 to 2005, in 31 different countries. The data set included more countries than 31, but I cut it down because a lot of the countries didn't have complete data sets. They were missing data, basically. And it also had from 1990 to 2011, but I cut it down for simplicity. This is a picture of the data file. You can see on the left you have the list of the countries, at the top you have a list of the years. This could be modified to add more years, more countries, or correct any incorrect data. Other than that, that's about it. Why did I do this? Because I'm paying $14,000 to go to school, and it doesn't have to be this way, because in a lot of other countries they spend the same percentage of GDP, but they get better results, they get better education, and they don't have to pay as much money. So yeah, let's start the program. So this is the MATLAB window. Obviously, there's 5 different functions. The main function is called Analyze Education. The dataset is called education.txt, and you put it in, the dataset pops up in the command window, and it shows the years. So 2003 to 2005, it shows the number of countries, it shows a menu. We're going to go with number 1 first, plot year totals. We're going to plug in, it could be in the year, but we're going to plug in 2004. So we'll do that. We'll click OK, and the bar graph pops up. It says education expenditure for 2004. It has all the different countries at the bottom. You can see countries like Burundi or Cuba, they spend a lot of their GDP on education. Countries like Andorra or Uruguay, even the United States, spend less GDP. So that's bar graph. We move on to the second function, is to plot average totals. So same idea, except it's the average of all the years instead of just 2004. It's going to be roughly the same pattern. It's going to be countries like Burundi spending more, countries like Uruguay spending less. But it gives a more accurate picture of how the situation is. And if I had more years in the data set, it would be even more accurate, but that can be easily fixed. So now we're going to move on to the next function, which we'll call the function again. We'll click the third function, which is plot total increase in GDP. Basically, it's looking at which countries have increased their spending versus which countries have decreased their spending on education. So Uruguay, we saw in the last slide, it spends almost nothing on education, but it's been going up. In contrast, United States, we've actually gone down for 0.2% GDP total spending for education. So that's one way to analyze the data. And the fourth function is a lot like the third function, except instead of plotting average change in GDP, it plots average change in GDP relative to the country's average spending. So it gives a little bit more accurate of a picture. For example, if you look at Uruguay, the bar is a lot higher. That's because Uruguay's GDP is smaller. So even if they didn't change as much as some other countries, that change is still really big. So props to them for spending more on education. If you look at the US, our bar has actually gone smaller because, of course, our GDP is a lot bigger. So that's the fourth way to analyze the data. And that's about it. So yeah, thanks for watching this, and that's it. Bye.